Welcome to the Journey Beyond Divorce podcast, where we explore the many facets of complex divorce and invite you into a journey of healing and personal transformation that will radically change your divorce experience and set you up to be effective and feel empowered. I'm Karen McMahon, your host and founder of Journey Beyond Divorce. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of JBD podcast. We're talking about healing betrayal at the cellular level, somatic freedom after infidelity, with my guest, Lora Cheadle. Hello, Lora.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here today.
I think that this is such an important topic, and you and I we think a lot, so I think that there's going to be some really interesting connections here. So folks, infidelity, betrayal, it's not just an emotional wound, it's a full body experience. And the tight chest, the racing heart, the gut punch, the endless loop of why running through your mind, no matter how much you talk about it or analyze it, the pain lingers. And so what do we do about that? It's because betrayal lives in your body and healing has to start there. Today, Lora, who's a betrayal recovery coach, TEDx speaker, and author of Flaunt and It's Not Burnout, It's Betrayal, is joining us. After discovering her husband's 15-year affair, Lora transformed her own devastation into a pathway of healing, freedom, and joy. And now she helps other women do the same. We're diving into her approach to somatic healing, hypnosis, and even, get a load of this, playful burlesque-inspired movement as tools to release betrayal at a cellular level, quiet obsessive thoughts, and reclaim both your power and your sensuality. So if you've been stuck in your head, replaying the pain, this conversation will show you why the key to true freedom after betrayal lies in your body, not your mind. With no further ado, let's dive in, Lora.
I'm so excited to dive into this because, yes, healing can actually be quite yummy. And I know how hard it is, and I know how devastating it is because I've been there. But just like you were talking about, that gut punch, that tight chest, that's just stuck emotion. And we can't think our way out of trauma. We want to think our way out of trauma, but we can't think our way out of trauma. We have to feel. And truly, the only way to feel is by using the body. And we've been raised in a society where it's sit down and be quiet, go to your room, sit down, quit fidgeting. But our bodies know how to process emotion. And it's truly not until we allow ourselves motion that we start to heal.
Oh, I like that. You have to heal motion. You have to get in motion. You have to root into your body. And so as we're beginning to talk, and I said this to you offline, I think that while infidelity is like, it's like the perfect storm when you're dealing with infidelity and the divorce. It's just like such a double whammy. And yet they're both in their own way betrayal.
Yeah.
And so many of my clients, and of course we focus on more high conflict divorce, they do feel betrayed by the promise, the story, whether or not the other person is right or wrong, there's this sense of betrayal. And so I think that everyone listening, whether or not they have experienced infidelity, that this conversation can be incredibly helpful in the healing journey. And I'll just say, Lora, that more and more, I've been doing this for 15 years, and more, I find myself partnering with people like you because whether it's therapy or coaching, we're speaking to your prefrontal cortex. And there's so much unconscious that goes on, and there's so much in the body that goes on that all of the talking and strategizing and action plans in the world don't get to. And so let's just start there. Like you're saying, you have to be in motion to heal the emotion, but somatics is thousands of years old. And so with the work you do, When does it come in? How does it come in, the somatic
Yeah, that's a great question. It comes in, and this is such a vague answer, but I'll explain it. It comes in as it's ready to come in because we can't force ourselves to relax. No person ever has relaxed when somebody says, "Now just relax." It's,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just calm that nervous system down. You'll be fine.
thanks. That's so helpful. Now I can make it happen.
Yeah, thanks. Great. I will just choose to get out of fight, flight, or freeze right now. Doesn't work that way. So it comes in, it evolves in the work. So, yes, we start off with coaching. That's your headspace. But as we are moving through the story, where are you feeling that story in your body? As you were talking about the financial betrayal, as you were talking about the loss of the dream, as you were looking at the money that is going out towards your attorney bills, like where are you feeling it in your body? Because that relates to a story that's going on. That relates to an attachment wound. That relates to childhood. That relates to a belief. So as it comes up, we'll identify it. That's in my gut. That's in my heart. What does that wound remind you of? Where have you felt this constriction before? What did it mean when you felt that before? How can you express that and be fully expressed without vomiting on another person? How can you sit with that emotion in your body and shake or breathe through it? And that's how it starts coming into the work, is by identifying, dropping out of a head. We have a heart, we have a gut, we have a whole body here. And that is the very first step, is dropping down, identifying, feeling it, and maybe asking it, what are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to protect me? Thank you for being here to try to protect me. What are you reminding me of? And just sitting with that. And also starting to get comfortable with the fact that there might not be an answer right away. We so want the right answer. And I often tell my people, like when I ask them questions and they say, I don't know, what's wrong with me? I don't know. Nothing's wrong with you. You're not supposed to know. This is the journey to becoming. This is the journey to discovering. It might mean one thing, and as you sit with that, it might evolve and mean something else. But how can you stay present with the ever present and ever changing moment so you can learn?
So for the people who aren't there yet, we know that there are certain things we'll do. We'll numb our pain, we'll stuff our pain, we'll judge our pain. You might add a couple more to that. So it's like there's we're all starting there. It's like if I'm hurt, somebody else is at fault, and I just want to push the pain away. And
Yes,
you just said, in my words, not yours, befriending your pain, becoming
hmm
curious about your pain, tracking how your pain is showing up is almost like a roadmap for past trauma and healing the now and the before. Is that fair?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a chain. I like to think of trauma as a chain, and you start wiggling it over here, and as you're moving that, it unearths the whole rest of the chain. So visualize a chain being buried underground. If you start pulling it up over here, it's going to start pulling up all of that past stuff too. And it's in service of growth, it's in service of healing. But yeah, it's going to disrupt some other things. And yeah, it's probably going to get a little bit more uncomfortable before it gets comfortable, but then it's no longer buried. Then you truly are free. And we all say, I want to be free, I want to be happy. But not if I have to look at those things, but not if I have to get uncomfortable, but not if I have to be vulnerable. Well, it's hard work, but it's enriching, it's rewarding, it's worth the work.
Yeah. And I always say the work that I do, the work that you do, it takes courage to step in and
Mm.
face your demons and your pain. And there's something that you just said about pulling the chain and the past. And it reminded me of your podcast that I was listening to this morning. Laura, what's the name of your podcast again, Laura?
It's called Flaunt. create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal?
Yeah, so look that up. So she did a podcast a couple of episodes ago on the resurrection, which I thought was so brilliant because she talked about the beginning and what you were just describing about pulling on the chain. It's like this thing happens to us. I was married 7 years when it became so obvious to me. Like I was in a really unhealthy state. I was becoming a version of my mother that I hated. I was angry, I was hostile, I was rageful, I was out of control, I was triggered, I was reactive. And if someone came to me and said, Karen, this is for you, this is the beginning of the best of your life, I think I would have like shot them. And yet, because of what you and I do, we know that when we slam into whatever that brick wall is, whatever that crisis is, I heard once to find the magic in the tragic. And that's really, there is always magic in the tragic, but you have to be bold and brave enough to look for it. And so, can you take us through your ideal client is a woman who's been betrayed, and take us through who you work with, and then let's talk more about that somatic work.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. My ideal woman that I work with is a really together woman who has really leaned in, who's been like, I get this. I do communication. I do family. I do marriage. And they do the work. They know how to do it. And they have been completely blindsided because they've thought, wait, I'm a good communicator. I read all this stuff. I do all this stuff. I perform. I perform being the perfect partner, the perfect wife, the perfect, like, I've done it all. How did this ever happen to me? And because they've invested so much in the relationship, it's really hard to let go of. It's not just like, oh, yeah, well, we were married for 15 minutes and we have no assets together. No, they've built this entire life. They've built this entire life that they love. And now they find out, are you kidding me? Everything that I've sacrificed for, everything that I've worked for, it's gone. And now what do I do? Because do I hang on to the past and do I pretend? And do I let it all go and do I start over? And there's just so much confliction. There's so much pain. And then it's, is it him or is it me? Is it personal? It's just that utter state of chaos. And I think the,
Yeah. And the things that I hear are, I know so often they're shame involved. Even though the other person did the cheating, it's like I'm so ashamed that I wasn't enough for my spouse. There's judgment of them, there's judgment of you. There's so much uncertainty now. What the hell does this mean? Do I try and fix it? Do I just go for a divorce? Oh my God, what about the kids? It's just such a knotty bundle of confusion.
yes, yes, exactly. And then why did I miss it? If I'm smart and relational and together, how did I miss it? How did I not know? And then that cognitive dissonance, like in my head, oh, I'm never going to put up with that. If he cheats, I'm out of here. And then it happens, and I think, but I don't know what I want. I don't just stop loving you at the drop of a hat because I found this out. I was in this. I was in this. And now you're telling me for 15 years it's not what I thought it was? And yes, I love how you said the naughty bundle because what I always liken it to is when you're traveling and you have like, you bring necklaces and your necklaces all tangle up. And you're like, how did this even happen? How did all of these necklaces? And you start untangling and you can't see where the ends are. And then you're pulling on one and then it makes something else worse. And then all of a sudden, this magic happens and you go "Broomp," and all the chains untangle and you're like, wow, that's this process. Sometimes things get worse before they get better. Sometimes you can't see the end. Sometimes you think you've got it and it's not there. And then all of a sudden there's this big exhale and your life is untangled and it makes sense.
We're going to take a quick sponsor break. And when we get back, I want to pivot to the specifics of the somatic work that you do. There's so many different practitioners out there. And given the gut level of pain that your women are in, I'm really curious to see how you help them. Okay, so we're back. Let's talk somatic healing. Where do we begin?
I'm going to give everybody a very simple tool to do. And this is a great introduction. Identify how you feel. Do you feel broken? Do you feel powerless? That's a big one because you're not in control. The court's in control. Your ex-partner's in control. Do you feel stuck and rigid and bitter? Identify how you feel. Then identify something that is the opposite of how you feel and go do that physically. So if you feel powerless and weak, go lift weights. It will make you feel strong. If you feel rigid and bitter, go take a yoga class, go do some stretching, get in the water and flow. Physicalizing the opposite of how you are feeling is a great way to start bringing balance to your physical organism. We are all body, mind, spirit. If my mind is stuck, access it through the body. If my body is stuck, access it through the mind, access it through the spirit. Pick one of those three areas to get in and soften and loosen wherever it is you're stuck.
Right. So if I have a client who's frenetic or anxious,
Yeah.
and I'd say those as two very different things, but it's got that same similar energy. What's the physical? What are two or three options for the opposite?
One great option, and I love this. I just did this with my hands. Show me the energy that you're experiencing. This is frenetic to me. I'm shaking my hands, I'm shimming my shoulders. Start by leaning into that a little bit more physically. Ah, shake, bounce, shimmy, because you're physicalizing what's going on. So suddenly my anxiety is not out of control and I can't stop. I can because it's in my body. It's not this elusive emotion. So I will have people start doing the energy. Do it. Now amplify that. Do it more. Now bring it back down. Breathe through that. As you calm that anxiety down, now where are your hands? They're on my lap. They're calm. So you were tracking what the energy is, amplify it, and then diminish it. So that's one wonderful tool for bringing yourself back into regulation.
When we get back into regulation, what happens?
Couple of different things. First of all, we're back in the prefrontal cortex. We're not triggered. We're not in fight, flight, freeze, or fix. So we can actually rationally make a decision. And we're not signing a divorce paper because blah, 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 blah. We're not fighting and spending 6 more months in court and 20 more thousands of dollars because we can see the end goal. We're rational, we're reasonable. But I think most importantly, we get ourselves back. Like you said, I'm being this angry, bitter person. That's not you. That was something that when I went through my infidelity journey, I realized if they make me, in air quotes, an angry, bitter, man-hating, afraid woman who at 80 years old is still telling the story of how awful this was, then they've won. They have taken me away from myself. This is not who I am. I'm deep. I'm loving. I'm philosophical. I'm playful. Laura is all of those things. And how do I get myself back?
Yeah,
Through
so
somatic.
and it sounds like a real regaining of one's agency
Yes.
on a cellular level.
Yes. And that's why I use, sometimes you had mentioned this in the intro, the concept of burlesque. Burlesque is a parody. It is a theatrical work of art that is a parody, and it involves the removing of layers. Isn't that what we're doing in divorce? Like we go from this married identity back to who we are. It's not a loss, it's a shedding of the layers. It's a revealing of what's underneath. What is underneath? That's my identity. Who am I underneath, and how can I shed these layers in a more playful way? And that's another tool. I did the physical shaking, bringing it back down. But another tool that I use is the physical stripping away. Put on a jacket, a shirt that represents my identity in this marriage. Take it off. Dance, put on a song. You don't have to know how to dance. We can bounce to the rhythm. How can you take that jacket off, take that shirt off, twirl around with it, dance with it, rub it around your back like you're drying your back with a towel? Like, play with it, make it fun, because then it's less threatening in life. And so often, this is such a truth bomb. So often, the idea of doing something is harder than it is to actually do it. We build it up in our mind and then we do it and we're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And that's what burlesque is. It's music, it's costume, it's theater, it's parody, it's funny. And if we can regain control of our situation and turn our divorce into a dance routine, how do I get through this? I drop this, I release this, I reveal this, and I dance around. Now, when I go into court next week or whatever it is, face my partner, deal with this, I see, I feel a little more lighthearted about it. I feel a little more joyful. I've already walked that path. It's not new. I've walked it. I've walked it maybe through a hypnotic meditation, maybe through a visualization, but I've also danced it. And if I visualized it and meditated it and danced it, now when it comes time to perform, I've done so many different dress rehearsals. I'm better. I can hold these emotions and I can show up with love instead of with fear.
Yeah, you have such an interesting, it's such a contrast between pain and devastation and playful healing. Can
Yes.
you give us, can you share a story or two with us about the work that you've done and what that client was like when you first met them versus when they went through your process?
Yeah, a woman that I'm working with right now. When I first met her, she had just found out about the infidelity and she was all about, I'm gonna help my partner heal and I'm gonna be and I'm gonna support and I'm gonna lean into him. And it was all about him and the cute things that he was doing and trying to heal and how he was really showing up. And it was like, okay, on the one hand, I'm really admiring that you're willing to do this, but on the other hand, honey, this is about you.
Where are you?
Where are you in this? Yeah. And just this process of remembering, oh, yeah, I do deserve more than this. Oh, yeah, these are the things that I used to like to do that I haven't done forever. And she took up tennis and golf. Those were her two things again. And she took them up again. And she just became herself. And then, like, she'd smash these balls on the tennis court. And she did this practice where she'd throw them up to serve for herself. And she'd be like, this is for the time you whap. This is for the time you whap. And it was that energetic release. We somaticized something that she already enjoyed, but she's like, I'm sending this away from me. And it doesn't matter if it gets returned. I am sending it away. I am sending it away. I'm sending it away. And it was like she slowly came back into herself. Long story short, through the divorce, it was very painful, but she was able to move through it. She was able to realize, I need to go. Like, she would, I work with my clients on Voxer, so we send messages back and forth, the asynchronous communication. And she'd be like, I'm sitting by a river and I'm watching that flow. I'm climbing a mountain and I'm feeling my thighs burn. This is hard work, but I see the top. So it's like we're imbuing the meaning, we're finding the processing along the way. And of course, she had falling apart moments. Of course, she questioned herself, but she was present with it. And just a couple days ago, she sent me a picture. She jumped out of an airplane. She's like, I've always wanted to skydive. I'm like, oh my gosh, you went from, how can I help you, to jumping out of an airplane. And yeah, it took a year and a half, but you're present with it. You have relationships with your kids, you have relationships with yourself, and you know how to manage whatever comes up along the way.
Yeah, and I heard you say in the podcast this morning how, this is a season and the
Yeah.
season's different for everyone. I've had people who I'm like, God bless you, somehow in 4 to 6 months, you went through, you're good, you're on the other side. And then there are other people where it's just like, no, it's harder because I've got special needs kids too, and I have financial struggles, and he or she is being particularly difficult. And so this particular person's season is a year and a half. That concept of I'm miserable and I can't see around the bend, and it feels like I'm just going to be in this for the rest of my life. How do you guide people, and how does the somatic help in that?
I love that you asked that because haven't we all been there? One of the things that I say to my people a lot is you don't have to feel it in the moment. Sometimes it's just trying. And it makes me cry because I go back to my own journey when I would just move and I think I don't feel anything from that. My heart is dead. I am numb. And it's okay. It's the act of self-care that matters. Sometimes I'll tell my people just play a song every day and just move your body to it. I don't care if it's barely rocking or I don't care if you're rage mosh pit dancing. Just play the song. I don't care if you feel connected or not. It's not about, oh, I had a meditation and oh, I danced. It's a devotion to yourself. How do you devote energy and time to yourself? We don't, whether you go to church or meditate, you don't always feel the love. It's not about feeling the love. It's about creating the rituals for yourself. It's about showing up for yourself and knowing that I can always trust myself to do this because your trust has been so shattered. How do you rebuild trust with others? By rebuilding trust with yourself. How do you rebuild trust with yourself? By showing up and doing the dang thing day after day after day, whether or not you feel it.
And so there's a certain portion of the audience who's thinking, yeah, but yeah,
Right.
but I've got three teenage kids. I have a full-time job. I'm a single parent. I'm in the middle of the divorce. The divorce is a full-time job. You know,
It
he or
is.
she is so difficult. Like, where in the world am I supposed to? There's, it's amazing how, as a codependent, people-pleasing person, which so much of my audience resonates with that, like
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not even on the list. We're not even on page 10 of the list. Like we're just, it's like there was no thought that I would even put my care on the list. And
Yeah.
so what you're describing sounds like me at the top of page one. I don't even have me on the list. How do I do that? How do I pivot from one to the other?
What I like to think of it as, it's an integration. It's how do I do, there's that phrase, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. What are the things that you're doing all day? How can you imbue that with beauty, with presence? Start with brushing your teeth and going to the bathroom and drinking water. We all brush our teeth, we all go to the bathroom, and we all drink water. Start in those moments. How am I feeling? If you're going to the restroom, ask yourself, how am I feeling? Do a body scan. I just did a body scan. It took seconds. Just check in and notice. As you're drinking water, ask yourself, what am I ingesting? I am ingesting love. I am ingesting joy. What do I want to take in so I can give it to everybody else who are on page 1 through 9?
Yeah.
I want to give my kids. I want to give my career. I want to give my friends. I want to give the universe. Like, think about that as you're bringing that in. I am bringing in nourishment. As you're brushing your teeth, what am I washing away? I'm washing away the gunk. I'm releasing the heaviness. Start in those moments because it's an integration, it's a way of living. Because you're right. Oh my gosh, if we all meditated for an hour and worked out for an hour and did facials and masks and all these things for an hour, we'd never have time for anything. It's living differently. It's living fuller. It's living richer. Like, how many times do you get through the end of the day and you think, what did I even do? And where was I? And I don't remember that. This is about falling into bed at night being like, I was present and I felt this and I loved and I was cherished and I gave and I received. It's that deep presence. But start
You,
small.
as you're just talking, last year I did a positive intelligence course, and I remember the invitation was just when I was washing my hands and face in the morning, to be fully present with it, to feel the suds on my hand. And I remember my showers. I'm so glad I'm saying this because I'll start up again. Standing in the shower and feeling like that just rain. And instead of thinking like, what's my first appointment and what am I talking about on that podcast and what happened with my kid yesterday? Like that full presence. And what was so fascinating for me was when I did that, he said, and to your point, like just in the normal things, when you walk down the hallway from the bedroom to the kitchen, pay attention to your feet on the hardwood floor or on the fluffy carpet or whatever it is. And so if you could connect some dots for us. So this concept of even in the brushing the teeth, the washing the face, the showering, the thing that happens when I'm fully present in my body and paying attention to my senses and my sensory perception. I know that's part of somatic work, but could you kind of give us a little bit of background of what that does for us?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not even sure where to start because it does so much. It slows time down in a way. Instead of living in the future, what if, or instead of living in the past, do you believe what happened? It brings us right into the moment. And in the moment is where we have our power, and our power is to choose. And our power is to choose how the emotion that we emanate, the things that we feel, to make decisions. So it breaks away the future and it breaks away the past, and it just allows us to be where our power is. And I know people are going to say, but sometimes I don't want to be there. Yeah, you're right.
100%.
100%. Sometimes we don't want to be there. But when you just allow yourself to be there in the moment, it does bring clarity. And sometimes that clarity is, I don't want to be here. Why not? Where? What can you choose? How can you take one step to the left or to the right, metaphorically speaking, or maybe physically speaking? And so much like we went back to, it's so confusing and it gets so tangled. But when you're in your body, when you're in your soul, you feel led, you feel connected, you feel guided, and you know that this is a season and I can get through it. And, I said earlier, you're in your prefrontal cortex, so you do make better decisions. And then you're also flowing emotion. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the decade, you're not still hung up on something. You're not still experiencing stomach problems. This was a recent thing with a client too. She's like been having all these stomach problems. And I said, put your hand on your belly. What are you not digesting? What are you having troubles digesting? And she was like, oh, new situation at work, new situation with family. It's hard to digest all this. And it's like, yes. So let's tell your body and remind it to physically start digesting because it is hard to emotionally digest. And her body is trying to give her the clue, this is hard for me to digest. Okay, so what are the things that I can do now to make it easier to digest? What is the information that I need? What are the skills that I need? What do I need to prepare for?
Beautiful. So, the what I'm hearing you say too is there's when we're present, when we're fully present and we're in our body, going through divorce is so, life is so out of control. And so being fully present is the only place we have control. And it's also where we can feel most empowered because once we're fully present, we can be conscious of what's going on. We can make choice based on what's going on. And if we're in our body, we're in our prefrontal cortex. And so we're thinking with our rational mind. And so, folks, I would say that really anything that you can do in your day to day that plugs you into your senses and your body, even if you're not yet on a particular somatic practice, is just incredibly valuable for us. And I would love for you, Laura, if you would, to share website, your podcast again, and if you have some programs, like leave our listeners with different ways that they can reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And before I lean into that too, When you're present, you can also see what's the ancestral wound. What is the patriarchy? This is not me. This is a patriarchal story that it's a template that's been overlaid into me and it's not mine. And we don't know that unless we're in our bodies. So it's not only present divorce, it's also who am I in the broader scheme of things.
Beautiful.
So, yeah. So, yes, my website is Lora Cheadle and it's LoraCheadle.com. You can download your free Betrayal Recovery Guide at betrayalrecoveryguide.com. And that's got some basics and some somatic practices, as well as like a downloaded meditation. And yes, I work with people one-on-one. We can do the coaching and then move it into the somatics because we all get stuck. I'm a somatic attachment therapist, so I deal a lot with the attachment wounds. So, what is the somatic release you need to do for your particular anxious attachment, whatever it is for you? So, yes, I do the somatic work as we coach one on one. And then I also have a 90-day program that is really emotion specific. So, it's designed to help you flow, rage, grief, anger, whatever it is, to help identify it and give you those practices so you can build up. So, literally, for the rest of your life, whether it's your house flooding, which is what I'm dealing with now, and it's creating stress, or it's a relationship or kids, how to physicalize, move through, release so you don't create illness, stress, pain, injury. And really, at the end of the day, it's just so you can live this really rich, joyful life connected to who you are.
Beautiful. And the name of your podcast one more time.
It is Flaunt. Create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal. And
Thank
you're
you
going to
so
be on it
much.
too.
Yes, we're doing a pod swap, so you'll find me on Laura's podcast as well. Thank you so much. You've got such beautiful energy. I love what you do. I really appreciate you coming and sharing with the audience.
Thank you so much. The admiration is mutual, and I really am happy to be here. Thank you.
So check out Laura, go check out her podcast, her website, grab her free gift. All of that is in the show notes, so you didn't have to write it down if you missed it. And we'll be back again with another episode real soon. You guys have a great day.